What's up, everyone? Mike here from tastylive with another episode of Options in Action. We've got a few under our belt now. If you've missed this segment, we're basically walking through all of the beginner concepts and strategies from my old whiteboard series, and we're bringing it back with a more advanced flair, and we're bringing it to the platform. We're talking about these things in real time. We've talked about calls, puts, we've talked about intrinsic and extrinsic value, we've talked about options premium. Now we're talking about strike prices. So what is a strike price? A strike price is ultimately where you start to take on intrinsic value risk if you are selling an option, and where you start to take on intrinsic value gains if you're buying an option. For example, if you've got Apple here, we're looking at the Tasty platform trading at 300. If I buy a 300 strike call, anything above 300 is intrinsic value gains equivalent to 100 shares of stock, as if I were to have bought that stock at 300. With an option, though, you're not going to put up nearly as much capital if you're buying a call, because you've got a finite time frame, and 100 shares of Apple, if you're buying the shares, you have a theoretical infinite time frame. Therefore, you put up the full capital of those shares, and you get that kind of static delta. Call options, if you're buying them, they have dynamic delta. Same thing for puts. If I sold a 300 strike put, I absorb or assume the risk of 100 shares of stock below that 300 strike threshold. So it depends on what you're using options for when it comes to strikes specifically. But I think the question that always comes up is, what's the perfect strike for this strategy, or what kind of strike should I be looking at for this strategy? And my answer is always, it always sounds lazy, but my answer is, it doesn't really matter. And the reason why I say that is because if I sell an iron condor, or I'm trying to buy a call, there's going to be very little difference between a 300 strike or a 305 strike or a 310 strike. Like, yes, the premiums are going to be different, but we're still talking about very similar trades with a very similar probability. So I don't get over interested in the exact strike that I'm choosing, but I do have a couple of guidelines when it comes to strike selection. So first things first, looking at the options chain here, I typically will stick to the monthly cycles. Unless I'm trading an earnings announcement. So you can look at any stock, whether it's Apple, Nvidia, SPY, of course, doesn't have earnings, but I tend to stick to the monthly cycles because a lot of traders and institutional investors are trading the monthly cycles. So I want to be where the liquidity is. I want to make sure that if I'm buying or selling an option, regardless of whether it's a single option or a spread, that I have the ability to get in and out very efficiently. I'm just going to open up this random expiration, the 9-day in Apple. If you're trading this, that's great. But again, I would rather just be in the monthly cycles. Looking at the open interest here, open interest is simply the outstanding contracts that are available on these strikes. You can see we've got 10 cents wide between the bid ask. And again, if I'm buying this option at $1.13 and then I want to close it a second later at 103, somewhere in the middle is where I'll get filled, but it's not very clear. I could be giving up 10 cents, which we call slippage on the network, to get out of this position. So if I were to choose any of these strikes, let's say I want to sell a put, would I choose the 290 strike? Sure. 10 cents wide, you got 1.14K contracts outstanding. The 292.5 is kind of a wonky strike. I kind of like to avoid those because, again, when these markets become more liquid, people kind of gravitate towards these round numbers. But look at the difference here. Like between the 285 and 270, the 290 and 285. The 290 has a 13-cent bid-ask spread if I were to sell that option, and the 285 has less than a 10-cent bid-ask spread. So yes, this is a near-term cycle. The premiums are different, but if I were to choose just based on liquidity, even though these have similar open interest, I'm going to be choosing the 285 because it is a more narrow spread. And if we look at a monthly cycle, if we go to June and we look at the 290 versus the 285, you have similar markets here. You've got a 10-cent wide market at 285, a 15-cent wide market at 290. And again, the premium here is going to be a little bit different, but I wouldn't stress too much out about the actual strike, because let's say I sell the 290, I pick up $500. If Apple rallies, it's going to be a profitable trade just like the 285 would. But maybe my intention is like, I want to take these shares at the lowest basis possible. Well, then I'm going to go with the 285 because selling the 285 put gives me that flexibility. But another reason why I don't hyper focus on the strike selection, especially with undefined risk short premium trades like a short put, is because I know that at some point I'm going to be tested, most likely. And at some point, I'm going to have to roll this option out in time. And guess what? If I'm spending an hour trying to decide between the 285, 290, and then something's announced in Apple and it drops 5 points and I'm at my strike and I have to roll it out in time or move it, then all that analysis is kind of gone out the window. And then that's not to say that I don't do any kind of analysis before I place these trades, but I would much rather have an assumption on a product. Maybe it's a price extreme. Maybe I'm trying to take advantage of implied volatility around earnings. I would rather just go with the trade, go with my gut, because I know that 90% of the time I'm going to be manipulating these trades anyways. And if I buy this back in June, let's say an hour from now something changes, I buy this back in June, I can go out to July and I could move my $5 option that I'm buying back in June out to the 285 strike in July, pick up 90 cents and collect some more premium and give myself more breathing room. So I think when it comes to strike selection, there's a couple things that I really focus on. One is just making sure there's liquidity there. Again, I try and stay in those monthly cycles. The only exception really is if I'm trading an earnings announcement where I want to sell an option in the earnings cycle or buy an option in the earnings cycle, whatever. It's usually selling an option in the earnings cycle against something else. But that's really the only exception. Other than that, I'm just going straight to the monthlies, keeping it simple. We know that there's plenty more liquidity in the monthly cycles. You can see it here with the open interest. And that's where you want to be when it comes to entering and exiting trades, especially when we think over the long run. If you're trading 300, 500 times a year, just as an example, if you're giving up 10 cents every single time you trade because you're in these illiquid markets, that adds up over time. So we want to make sure we're trading the most liquid strikes. If you are trading undefined risk short premium, you have a lot of flexibility from a manipulation standpoint. So I'm really not that worried about the strikes. For a defined risk trade, sure, I'm gonna pay more attention to the strike selection because I know that I don't have as much manipulation and risk management that I can deploy with something like an iron condor. But same story applies. With an iron condor, I'm going to go to these round number strikes. I'm not going to be trading, the 282.5s, the 272.5s, those kind of things. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully this series is helpful. Let me know if you have anything you want us to go over specifically, but I plan on going over all of the videos in the whiteboard watch list, or playlist, I should say. So check that out. Stay tuned for these videos. We'll have plenty more for you. But let me know what you think about strike prices. See if you have any differing opinions. I'd love to hear them. But subscribe to the Tasty Live channel, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Options in Action.